Welcome back, my people. So the internet has been buzzing again because of activist omoyele sowore and the events surrounding his protest. What began as a peaceful demonstration quickly turned into a heated one after the security agents came in and also detained one of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Aloy Ejimako. So Sowore visited Ejimako and other detained protesters, saying he met them in high spirits, despite what he described as a rough treatment by the police. Remember, all of this is happening against a backdrop of tensions over Nnamdi Kanu's long detention. Even today, right there at the Federal High Court in Abuja, police officers swooped in and arrested Sowore himself. The authorities claim he led the protesters into restricted areas and disobeyed a standing court order. Now, people, I want you to watch this video.
Free Nnamdi Kanu protest on Monday, where despite court orders, protesters led by activist omoyele Sowore trooped out to demand the release of the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra. Well, on Tuesday, a magistrate court ordered the remand of Aloy Ejimako, one of the lawyers representing Nnamdi Kanu, in Kuje prison. The police arrested Ejimako after he joined protesters demanding Kanu's release and charged him alongside 12 others with various offenses, including criminal conspiracy, disobedience of a lawful order, inciting disturbance, and disturbance of public peace, contravening sections 152, 114, and 113 of the Penal Code law. This development has escalated the controversy surrounding the protest, while legal observers note that while lawyers have the constitutional right to peaceful assembly, their arrest during the protest they participated in adds another layer of complexity to an already contentious case involving freedom of expression, the right to protest, and due process. Well, activist omoyele Sowore, in response to this detention, actually put out a post on X, and he wrote, "It is unfortunate that the Nigerian Bar Association has remained quiet regarding the unwarranted and unjust detention of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, Aloy Ejimako and Barrister Okereke Kingdom Nnamdi. President Afam Osigwe, what is going on? Hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu now." In the meantime, the Center Against Injustice and Domestic Violence has called on the Nigerian Bar Association to take immediate disciplinary action against Aloy Ejimako for alleged professional misconduct. In a statement, the group condemned the lawyer's appearance at the protest ground, describing it as a clear breach of professional ethics and a violation of Rule 33 of the Rules of Professional Conduct for Legal Practitioners 2023, which deals with sub-judice statements. And according to the rule, and I'll read this statement in part, it says, a lawyer or law firm engaged in or associated with prosecution or defense of a criminal matter shall not, while litigation is pending, make or participate in making any extrajudicial statement that is calculated to prejudice or interfere with the fair trial of the matter, adding that the law expects that lawyers argue their cases in court, not on the streets, in protest grounds, or on media platforms. I mean, Vimba, I'm coming to you. Mr. Ejimako's participation in this protest is, they say, is tantamount to trying to sway public opinion and, by extension, the court's view on the matter still under education. I mean, your thoughts on, some of all of these things that I've unpacked before, we discuss on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu as well, because I believe that he has also filed.
Yes, very complex issues. And I think in this instance, I always like to say two things can be true at the same time. The first issue is dealing with the incarceration of the lawyer and the other group of activists. Now, when you look at that FIR report and the issues that they are being indicted for, there are a number of concerns. The number one concern being people are saying that, but this group also included Sowore himself, but Sowore is a free man, and the other 13, I believe, are in prison. So why is there separation between those who have been arrested? If they were all together in a group and alleged to have all committed the same offense, why is there this selectivity? So that means that clearly the playing field is not level. The rules are not applying equally, and many people are even challenging and contesting those rules to say, well, is this really what transpired? Were they really causing public disruption with their protest? Besides the fact that they did stay within the limits prescribed to them, when they tried to go beyond those limits, the police acted, and they were peaceful in their execution. However, another issue that I brought up earlier that I'll bring up is this issue of chanting war songs, and I think we have to be careful now with where we're going. I drew parallels with the case of Julius Malema in South Africa, who was taken to court over chanting a war song. If you remember, he has a song called Kill the Boer, and he says that it's not an insightful song because it's a remnant of their liberation past. So we now need to start having a conversation in Nigeria about whether chanting of war songs that are remnants of a struggle of the past do constitute a public disruption in some form or the other. In South Africa, it was ruled to have been within the constitutional right of any activist or advocate to chant any war song they want. Now it's set for the Nigerian law to set their own precedent on this issue. Now that's on one aspect. On the aspect of sub judice, the rules are clear. This man was on the streets advocating for and vocalizing for a case that should have been in defense as of that point. Of course, we've seen a number of issues that have come up with regards to delaying going into that defense. But at this time, I think that we need to focus our attention to the defense, because the prosecution have rested their case, and it's now up to Nnamdi Kanu to put forward his own defense. I know there are other developments that you'll come to, but and it's now not only is it up to him to put forward his defense, but it's also up to the public, civil society, to hold the judiciary accountable to ensure that his defense is treated fairly, it's given in a fair environment, and that he has access to all that he needs to be in order for him to provide a thorough and robust defense for himself. I think I hope I've dealt with many of the substantive issues, well, but yeah.
I mean, in terms of Ejimako being, detained in Kuje and all of that, you would wonder, I mean, he's a lawyer, shouldn't he have known the rules? But I'm sure that there'll be other, lawyers that would actually come and argue his case as well as to whether or not he had the right to protest at the same time. But meanwhile, barely 24 hours after the protest, the detained IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, in a motion he personally filed on Tuesday, October 21st, agreed to enter his defense and informed the Federal High Court of his plan to call a total of 23 witnesses divided into two categories. Well, among those listed as compellable witnesses are former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma, former Chief of Army Staff, General Tuko Boratai, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, Works Minister Dave Umahi, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, and Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. The detained IPOB leader told the court he would testify on his own behalf, providing a sworn account of the facts, denying the allegations, and explaining the political context of his statements and actions. He requested a 90-day time frame to conclude his defense, given the number of witnesses. I mean, Rufai, what a dramatic turn of events. Kanu's lawyer has been remanded in Kuje Correctional Center for participating in the protest. The timing and Kanu's decision to personally sign the notice raised questions about his relationship with his legal team and suggest a significant strategic pivot in his defense approach, potentially signaling his readiness to confront, the charges directly after years of legal challenge. People would say, I mean, he had no choice. Right now, his lead counsel is in detention. He has to, I believe he also is a lawyer, he says, Nnamdi Kanu. I've said some places that he said that.
You see, if we want to build a nation, let's build a nation. If we want to be hypocritical, let's be hypocritical. For all of those that are saying Ejimako has no right of protest, and I'm not a lawyer, so please, you can challenge some of my thoughts, but I'll think freely on this. And they are claiming sub judice. We have all been on this table where many cases that are currently in courts have been come to discuss here. You remember? Can we even go back and point out a couple of things? Anyway, we remember the debacle of Natasha, and we remember how people were coming to discuss the case while even the judges said they shouldn't discuss it here. Do we remember? Why didn't the legal disciplinary committee, why did they called in then? Oji, this case has not been, it's been on for a while. You remember that at some point during President Buhari's administration, some Igbo leaders, even when the case was in court, went to prevail over President Buhari for a political solution. Were they sub judice then? I'm talking about those Igbo leaders.
Yeah.
Recently, we've heard that governors like Alex Oti and a couple of other governors, I think governor of Imo State, have been talking to the president about a case currently in courts. Can we also deem those as sub judice? So please, I don't know anything in law, but I just think out loud. So please, you can educate me. I'm open to education.
We will learn more.
No. So I want to learn.
A huge debate.
No. And that's what I'm asking. And I've cited my position that were these engagements sub judice, the one that the great elder statesman from the South is that even finally passed after that, negotiation with President Buhari at an early, was a former federal minister in the 60s in this country. They went to President Buhari to ask and beg that Nnamdi Kanu should be released political solution. The governors that have been talking to the president as regards that, are these also sub judice? Because when you say, okay, Ejimako went to protest about a case in court and you say, okay, sub judice, you should know better. Now he's been detained and, he's been taken against his right. We forget he's a citizen first. Well, those other instances where they sub judice. That's just what I want to. And please, let's also put a background on this case. We've also had a court in this country that have said Nnamdi Kanu did no wrong, should be discharged and acquitted, and appeal courts, before this case had been taken to the Supreme Court. So let's also put that in the context of this conversation. All right. Nnamdi Kanu said he wants to go ahead with his defense process. Yes, he has the rights, but also it's only incumbent on let's even make a verification if he was the one that listed these people out. And let's make a verification on that process that was said that came from him. And let him go through his defense. A man has a right to be able to defend himself.
Right.
I am not saying that we should not, have a definitive stance on the rule of law in this country. But all I point out every day is the hypocrisy.
The selective application.
I mean, there are people now that we see them carrying guns and everything, bandits, having peace meetings and all that. Nobody have arrested them now. Okay. Their matter is not in court, it's not sub judice now.
All right.
So that one is out there. Then secondly, we have also seen people that were pardoned, bandits, criminals that were pardoned. All we're also saying is the political solution that you feel was good for the bandits that people speak for, give it to this man and charge him that if any other thing is done again, then actions will be meted out. That's all what a lot of people are calling for in this regard.
Yes.
That's just it. So if you call him all sorts of names, you call him a terrorist and everything, but you've done it for some bandits in the past now, why is his own different?
All right.
That's all I'm asking. All right. I'm not saying I support the way he went about it. I'm not saying I support all his abuses.
All right.
You did the same process people are saying do for this man, for other people that we saw. You even rehabilitated them. Like Dr. Bati said, you give them ashwebi and jollof rice and pepper soup. These are people that carry gun. No? I'm not sure Nnamdi Kanu ever. Did you ever say any gun is not going to shoot people? But these were even people that carry gun. No, that kill them.
Criminals.
That criminals that committed heinous crimes. So
all right.
You gave them a waiver and you said they should be good members of society again. All we are just saying is for the sake of balancing and for the sake of let's have fairness.
All right.
Let that same thing be done to Nnamdi Kanu, and let's also charge him that all the insecurity there that people attributed to you, let it stop.
All right.
So that at least when Nnamdi Kanu is out of the picture, anybody that does this thing again, we say, okay, we know this is criminality. That's all I'm arguing.
The names that he mentioned, though, as compellable witnesses, I mean, I wonder how that will play into his, defense and all of that. He's asking for 90 days. I believe the last time there was a ruling by James Judge Omotosho, he had said that Nnamdi Kanu should, conduct his case within 6 days. So I don't know. I mean, he's now asked for 90 days. It seems like another extension.